Hi there, this is Josh from Literary Gladiators, and today I'm here with my first book review of 2021. In particular, I'm going to be reviewing a play. And in particular, the play I'm going to be reviewing is The Flick by Annie Barker. Annie Barker also wrote a play called Body Awareness, which is the first one that I acquired, even though The Flick is the first one that I read. And The Flick is probably her most renowned play. But The Flick takes place in a movie theater in Massachusetts. It is one of the last in the state that operates on a 35 millimeter projector. And this play follows three particular characters. There are only four that appear in the play, period. But the three characters that are in this play are Sam, who is 35 years old. He is a general worker, which means he does maintenance, he does concessions, he does whatever needs to be done within the theater. You have Avery, who is a new employee, a new general worker. He's 20 years old, he's black, he loves the movies, even though you can say that he is a movie snob. He's very meticulous as far as what he enjoys, and he's got a pretty strong palate, per se, when it comes to film, and he's very knowledgeable. Sam has a general knowledge, a good general knowledge, and that leads to an interest of theirs where they banter off the connections between two different actors or actresses and what film they appeared in with one another. But then you also have Rose, who is 24 years old. She started a little after Sam, but she got a job as a projectionist, where she runs the projections as the film takes place. And the three of them engage in various random, casual, sometimes more intense discussions. They talk about astrology. They complain about their manager, Steve. Steve never appears, but according to them, he is a terrible person. And from instances and the way that he's made decisions, you can gather that, but you cannot confirm. But the three of them, the way that they incorporate language of that day is somewhat accurate. They often will use the term like to connect their thoughts. For instance, instead of saying, like, I have a habit of saying, it's like, this is what I think about this, and Sam, like, works at a movie theater, and he, like, he lives with his family, and an older brother who gets married within the play. We don't see the marriage, but it's the reason that he's out for a weekend. In my mind, I feel that Avery is the most relatable and likable. I think if somebody were to say, who can you relate to or who you would want to be the most within this play, I think that people would want to be Avery, because he is probably the one that means the best as far as he's had a rough life. He's depressed, which you can tell through his phone interaction with his therapist. And I could make a good projection that he is neurodivergent as well. Annie Barker writes about neurodivergence in Body Awareness as well, where one of the characters is on the spectrum. I think that the strengths within this play is how great it is able to capture the longing of nostalgia and how the things that humans desire in what is clearly a fast-changing world, and how There are a lot of people that act and respond the way that these characters do. You have all different kinds of people, but yet at the same time, if you put different subjects into their circumstance, they're going to respond much differently. Sam and Rose are perfectly flawed individuals. So is Avery, but Sam and Rose have that sense of immaturity that Avery will eventually bring up as the play progresses. And it's great that he is able to point that out the way that we do. And that gives the idea that if we were to be stand-ins for anyone, it would probably be as Avery, because Sam and Rose are such strong and aggressive, rebellious characters within this play. And then you also have Skylar, who is also the Dreaming Man. Sometimes you'll have the same actor intentionally play two different characters, but I get that sense that they were both the same. Aside from the Dreaming Man is the fourth and only other person to make an appearance, but the Skylar getting a job with the movie theater is pretty much an idea that he's merely part of an ongoing cycle, and whereas you can tell that Sam and Rose are striving to... They're pretty much bound to be lifers at this theater. Someone like Skylar is set to take that mold as well, whereas someone like Avery is bound to do big and great things if he puts his mind to it. But people like Sam and Rose, their issues have to do with determination and how they, instead of finding ways to set themselves on a path for forward progress, they instead engage in blame games, which you see time and time again within the play. But I think that there's a great strength in the depiction and the execution of this play and of their circumstance, and I think that it was pretty well done strategically to only to leave it to the four characters within this play, and in particular concentrate merely on the actions and the thoughts of three of them. I rated this 4 out of 5 on my Goodreads. I think that this is a good play that is definitely worth exploration. I think that it does say a lot about the circumstance, and it speaks wonders to the millennial generation that is very hungry for a sense of nostalgia and how things change rapidly and turn into something that they themselves are not too fond of. But I would say, from my own standpoint, that the quality of entertainment in today's day and age is nowhere near the way that it was back in the day. It almost seems like in the world of movies, they're almost, it's pretty much the same structure, but different character settings and circumstances, and which pretty much explains why I haven't been to the movies since 2013, and I think that it's quite something that I'm reading and reviewing this now, because the movie theaters in general are an endangered species, because once people start getting the hang of subscribing or downloading to acquiring them upon their release, and they can watch them from the convenience of their own home, that's going to be much more common, because people could watch it at their own leisure, and they can pause and go to the bathroom anytime they want, and it's not as pricey, so the way things are. But I would definitely encourage people to look into this play. It is a good play. Thank you for tuning in, and be sure to join us next time. For now, keep reading.